streaming live on YouTube. I just got a note. Hi, YouTube.
It's still setting up on my end, so confirming.
Yep, it says live on YouTube.
It says live on YouTube for us.
I see it too.
Good to go?
Let me confirm. It's spinning right now. Yep, we're streaming now. We're good. Let me just click record too.
Okay.
And we're good to go.
If you
Just setting up on my.
Yeah, I just checked on YouTube and we are streaming.
Nope, there we are.
If you want me to share my screen, you have to give me access again.
Yep, it's working.
Okay,
We're
all
good
right.
to go.
Get started. Welcome to the what's today's date? Wednesday, April 15th, caucus of the Albany Common Council. Looks like we're all here except for Jack Flynn. Let's get right into the agenda. We had that technical difficulty. Hopefully we won't have it for our public hearings on Monday, because we actually, myself, John Raphael, Danielle, and Michelle, they did all the work through those issues, and came up with a pretty good plan for doing it through the webinar function of Zoom. Okay, so we don't have, public hearings. We have two, Mike's ordinance 33120 and Richard's resolution 213120. We don't have meetings for approval from prior meeting. All right. Skipping over local laws, they're all held.
On local law E, I'm going to try and set up a committee meeting on that, so I'm going to coordinate with Michelle, but just to let you know.
Okay. All right. So under ordinances held, down to number 9, which is Mr. O'Brien's. You want to give us a brief, some brief points on that, Mike? You're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
Okay. Well, nothing new on it. My question for JR is, I guess we do not have to do any kind of seeker negative declaration. You were going to kind of brief me on that.
You're muted, JR.
Yeah,
We don't have to do a, sorry about that. We don't have to do a seeker resolution. We do, it's the way the planning board has done it. It's attached, the seeker review is attached to the resolution and the ordinances. So that's how they have done it. So that's the way we're proceeding with it. It's the same way I have it with attached to the ordinance. So we're good to go on that one. It'll be finalized this week.
Okay.
Okay, so other than that,
this is just a question. Did anybody sit in on the workshops that the planning board did to see if they gave any consideration at all to our request that they not take any action on the permitting of a blood plasma center at 900 Central? Or, because I've heard nothing back, either Amy Levine or...
I believe JR had some updates for us on that.
Michelle and I were both on it. The planning board did have their workshop. They did have some discussion regarding the blood plasma's development plan. They also did receive our resolution. The understanding of the planning board seems that they may or may not make a decision on their 21st. But a lot of their commentary was towards the resolution, talking more so about how they don't know why they want us to delay, why they should delay moving this. Council for them was of the opinion that the general city law is pressuring them to make a decision already, because there's a statute of limitations with that. But under my understanding, all statutes of limitation at this point are suspended or told. They also, they were working with us. We're trying, we've been working really hard to get our Zoom and everything up. They were making some remarks about how, if the Common Council wants to have their public hearing regarding the blood plasma, why can't they do that when they have the Zoom capabilities? We're already working on that, as everybody knows. We already have that going down. I just found it really interesting that the planning board was not in compliance with the governor's executive order regards to their workshop, because that one wasn't live streamed, as all public body meetings have to be live streamed. So I don't know what's going on, but but basically the sentiment was, we hear you, Common Council, on the resolution, but they're going to go forward. But from what I deducted from the meeting, it doesn't seem that planning board members are comfortable, or maybe they're not sure about they're going to move forward on the vote on the 21st.
Can I ask a question? The 21st, that is a public hearing,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
On conditional
Yes.
use permit. So it's not unusual, or it's usual, especially if a application is controversial, that the board would not make a decision on the same night as a public hearing.
Yes, but this is not a usual world,
Right, I understand.
particularly on.
Ordinarily,
Let's
there's
say,
a
let's say it nice.
time frame within which they can make that decision. So it doesn't have to be on the 21st.
Correct.
And that's the thing, like it sounded like counsel for the planning board was kind of, seems like they're making them to make a decision on the 21st, like it has to be done.
Oh, is that what Corp Council is suggesting to him? Or don't we know?
It seemed like the conversation was going towards that that a decision needs to be made soon. What soon is, it sounded like it needed to be done at the next meeting.
But this is the very first meeting that they've had. All the previous meetings were on ordinances, not on an application for an actual building permit. So this is the very first meeting that this is a live issue for the planning board.
The application for the center at that address was discussed at the workshop for the first time?
Both
Yes.
were discussed. It was both discussed. It was the conditional use permit and the major plan development.
But
And the
that was the
major
first time
development.
it was discussed by the planning board, was at that workshop
Yes,
Yes.
prior to the public hearing that's coming up on the 21st.
yes.
It's kind of unusual to, in that situation, to have a decision so soon on an application just submitted that requires a
Yeah.
hearing.
And
I
an
have a
interesting
question.
point,
Oh, sorry.
when I had written that ordinance and submitted it to them late last summer, it's been tabled ever since. As far as I know, it's still tabled.
Right,
Mike,
so would it be
quick question.
advisable, Richard, for members to attend and voice their concerns about the moving forward, or even JR, maybe from our staff to let them know that we take exception with it, and it's unusual for them to be moving it, considering the circumstances.
Yeah. I think at the public hearing, it might be worth someone presenting the council resolution for the public and indicating the desire of the council to delay. And then aside from that, I assume there'll be a large public turnout on it in any event. Not quite understanding yet how this public hearing is going to work.
Yeah, they already
Yeah.
have the notice out on their public hearing. They're using Zoom as well as like we are for their public hearings.
But here's my question for them, and I submitted it to Brad and I didn't get an answer. I went on their website. I checked off the box that yes, I am submitting my request to be a Zoom participant. And then my question was, does that mean that I get a link mailed to me, just like I do for these meetings? I haven't gotten an answer. So,
Yes, you do. Because some Zoom meetings you have to register for, and some you don't. But if
well,
they're
this one I had to register and I did,
yep,
but how do I
they'll
get
email you the link.
assigned a sign-in number, or
They
the link.
once from what I see with how Zoom handles webinars, because what they're doing is they're doing webinar like we are. Is you have to, like what you did on the link you put in there, and it'll send it the day of the meeting. They'll send you a
Okay.
link in your email.
Okay. Hopefully
So
that's what
but
happens.
Mike, I suggest you confirm that with Brad and not wait until the last minute to make sure.
If
It
I
doesn't
don't
slip
hear
by.
from, yeah, I sent him an email, yesterday.
Well,
Haven't
Kelly,
gotten
that's
anything
why,
back today. I'll try
Kelly-
calling him.
but that's why they register,
Okay.
you register, it takes it out of the hands of the person in control. Zoom automatically is set up when you register with your name and everything to send you the link. So it's not even a person, it's boom, it's already in the application.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I will-
I've got, just to be clear, I've gotten a link, got an email shortly after I signed up. Because the meeting is was within an hour of me signing up
Mhm.
for HRC. So,
It comes.
but also the agenda has the sign-in information.
The password you
Okay.
got for HRC is the same one that they have on their public notice.
Right.
So, anyway,
Okay. Okay.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna,
Oh.
Bye.
Owusu, you had
Bye.
you had a question?
It was essentially answered, but I do want to share that I hope that the planning committee realized that this resolution just didn't come out of, Mike O'Brien's hand. This is like supported by all members of the common council, and I hope that they seriously take this matter serious. And I know that planning, disagree with our position. I know Corporation Council, I'm not sure. They also, I believe, disagree with our position. So
true.
I just want to be very clear to planning and Corp Council is that this resolution wasn't an 8-5 vote. This was all members supporting it. And I hope that they take that into consideration, how they act on this matter.
Okay. Good point, Owusu. Okay, so that was it for, does someone else have something? No? Okay, that was it for ordinances.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I just wanted to say with the planning board meeting, but my ordinance is going to be heard on that night also. And I'd appreciate if people could support the the ordinance. And I could send something out to everybody via email. I'll send it out again so you can look at it. And, I think, and then Judy also has something on the board meeting that night too, I believe.
Yeah, I was planning on commenting favorably on yours since I'm going to be attending, and I listed yours as one of the points I wanted to comment on.
Okay. All right, on to resolutions introduced. We've got 33, 42, 20R. That's Natisha Alexander for the Commission on Human Rights. And that'll be a pass. She'll be attending the caucus to introduce herself to us. Same with resolution 34, 42, 20. Mr. Jackson will also be there. Mr. Robinson, would you like to say something? Or, it's pretty straightforward, but you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think that we had mentioned that the committee highly recommended, and that for us to pass this these resolutions unanimously, I think is a good thing.
Okay. It'll be passes. Next resolution, 35, 42, 20, for Jessica Wilcox appointing her to PEG Access. She actually came to our last caucus and introduced herself and spoke to us, so that'll be a pass.
Okay.
Okay. Next resolution. Anyone have questions?
Me.
No.
I can't see everyone, so go ahead, Mr. Robinson. Looks like.
Just a question for Michelle. Did we invite them to our caucus before the council meeting? Just maybe if they wanted to introduce themselves or say something before the actual meeting.
You talking about Natisha in,
Yeah, Trayvon.
yes, yes,
Okay.
they were invited. It was in their letter and I also confirmed with them.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll be jumping in and introducing themselves. Okay, so next resolution for intro, WUSU's 364220. WUSU?
Yes. Actually, I was wondering if I get this MC'd. I don't know if we discussed this, Kelly. But again, this resolution is self-explanatory.
Get what MC? Get what MC?
It's already on.
It's on the agenda. It's on the
It
It doesn't
agenda.
need
I
to
told
be.
you it was in time. It doesn't
doesn't
need to be
MC.
MC'd.
Okay,
Look at the
so we're gonna
screen. You
vote
see
on
the
it on the
screen?
20th. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Next,
Russo,
Yeah.
I have one question on there. This is the buy local and local.
Yes, it is.
Now, what is local? How far does it go? Green County, to go to Green County? Does it go how far north? Because I look at some of these farms, they're from, all around us. They support a lot of things in the areas.
Yeah. I think this is more a city of Albany resolution looking to, I was hoping that, in the term of local, meaning any location inside of the city of Albany. So that's what it's referencing.
And
So
the,
any business in the city of Albany that would like to participate with the Buy Local, Grow Local initiative, they're welcome.
All right.
there's like in like the sustainability community, generally it's 100 miles. So if you take a
Oh, okay.
and so I don't know if that's exactly what you meant, but even there's people that take like a pledge to only local, and that parameter is usually 100 miles. So I would say WUSU means the city of Albany, but even if you're going close to the city of Albany, sustainability wise, it matters.
Yeah.
That makes sense, Jenny, because you see some of the farms out in Colony, we have farms up and down Altamont and places like that, up in the hill towns. There's fine living up there. And that's why they come to our farmers markets. And I think we have to support them too. I would like 100-mile thing to be recognized, really.
So King Arthur flower is within, if you go within those guidelines, King Arthur flower actually qualifies. So I would love to be a co-sponsor on that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I
all
would too.
members?
Also.
Yeah.
Okay, all members that look, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So all our sponsors?
Sounds fun.
Well, if not, just say you co-sponsor the day of the event, the day of Monday.
Yeah,
So-
right. Okay, on to resolutions held. Skip down to number 8, Mr. Constance.
All right, sorry about that. I just want to make sure.
No, go ahead. You got something else?
Okay, so Monday it will be a 4-pass, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I'm asking is because I'm working with several organizations that are emailing and calling, and they'll like to get the facts. So, yeah.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Thank you.
All right, Lucy. All right, resolutions held down to 8, Mr. Constance. We've had a couple of meetings where we discussed it. I don't know if you want to say something.
Yeah. I
Now,
don't know if anyone has a
the public
question.
hearing is for that.
We'll have the hearing. I don't expect anybody to come, but if I'd like to pass it on Monday.
Okay. So that'll be a pass. Okay, so that was it for the agenda. We did have, in our leadership meeting, we discussed some issues, or not issues, concerns. We asked about the finances. Jenny, you're a better note taker than I am, so can you run through that stuff for us?
Absolutely. So we talked about several things specifically having to do with the pandemic. We talked about first and foremost financials. Of course, right now, there's a lot of concerns about the cash we have on hand, different revenue streams. And I did want to, the mayor brought this up at the end, but I did want to make sure people were aware that they're doing, they are taking a lot of time to hyper document everything with the eye so that they can get as much outside revenue as possible, any reimbursements, anything like that. So that our budget office is working overtime, really making sure that they document all of those pieces, making sure the different departments have the support that's needed to document that. Which is, it's good that they're putting in the work now, because while there are already some pieces where they can look for reimbursements, expecting more to come up later. So the city's doing its best to set itself up so it can fully take advantage of any opportunities that come, whether they're happening right now or down the road. They are making different assumptions based on timing, and they will see based on revenue. They have not yet gotten the first quarter sales tax, but they are expecting them to be, of course, down a lot. From a cash flow standpoint, the city right now is doing okay. There's a few unknowns with that, but in terms of cash flow, we're doing pretty well. The federal government has made it so it is easier for municipalities to borrow money. However, the big issue is who will take it, which is why they've been moving more into bans instead of bonds, because the short term is easier to get people to take those up. And we talked to them again about a cash flow analysis report. It's getting redone and they're expecting it, I would say within the next few days, hopefully this week. And we'll be getting that as well. Kelly also asked about demographics. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but there are several walk-in sites that were opened up and that was shared out. So please make sure to share that around. More on that, Kelly, or if you want me to go off of my notes. The demographics.
Right, and then, right, yeah, because most folks of color are have pre-existing conditions that make this a really terrible thing for us. So my question was, what are we doing? Where are we seeing the most cases? And in the conversation with the mayor, she obviously HIPAA doesn't allow putting too much information out, but she kind of mentioned they don't know exactly. They're trying to track it, but she does have kind of an idea based on the fire department, and they're just kind of like maps. It's not exactly addresses for some of their responses, but the information that we truly need lies with the county, the public, with the health department. So hopefully they'll be coming with that. And the mayor did actually at one point mention that they weren't tracking it. And that actually seems to be a nationwide thing. Most of the stories I read on the national news, they were unsure of numbers because it wasn't being tracked. So the mayor also mentioned that. Right, mentioned that.
That's a statewide issue, that issue of tracking. It's not, for some reason, it's not reported. I think it has to do with HIPAA guidelines. So the governor, not in his most recent executive order, but a very recent one, actually put out a thing to say that you had to do that. So Albany County had been having to go to funeral directors to get demographic data, and basically tried to put a bunch of extra work in to actually get their hands on the demographic data in order to track that. They're hoping that now they'll be able to get that a lot easier now that the governor has put an executive order out.
Okay, Mr. Robinson?
Yes. So did the mayor in that meeting mention some type of plan of action that she will take? Because we all know where the predominant communities of color are in the city of Albany. So is there any proactive measures that she is taking to get ahead of the issue?
Again, before they were directing everyone to the county, because that's where the health department resides, but there were conversations had in between the leadership meeting and today, obviously, you see they have testing sites, a few around the city. I think that stuff kind of sprang out of the conversation we had. I mean, it's not perfect, but we're there. It appears that they're doing something, and they actually, and some council members also reached out, and county legislators reached out to both the county and the mayor to say, hey, what's going on? And I think it's positive what's happening now with the testing centers, Arbor Hill, South End, and North End. So it's moving. Could be better, but yeah.
And Jamel, another thing that she said was the mayor's office was in the wake of not getting that data or even getting impartial data. I brought up even if they had data from test results, if people aren't actually getting tested in different areas, then that you can have as many results as you want. It doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
And so she said that they were operating on an assumption that even without that data, that was what was happening.
Everybody had it.
They were acting as if that was what the data said, that they were assuming that what was happening nationwide was also happening in the city of Albany, and they were operating in that way. However, I mean, I certainly encourage any members that know that something is happening or are worried about something, either reach out to us, Kelly or I, and Corey, or reach directly out to the mayor's office, and because it's something we have to be on top of as much as possible.
Gotcha. And I understand that having the data to inform decisions is a very important thing. But I don't want the data, our wait for the data to prolong us.
If people aren't getting a test, then you can't get the data, and that's the problem. So,
right. But we all know, again, where the predominantly minority communities are in the city of Albany. So even before we have the data, what type of proactive are we taking before the data is presented to us to try and inform these communities? That's kind of what my question is. So she won't present any of that, no plan of action for that. She's just waiting for the data. That's
she
if
said
I could just add in,
proactively that they were operating before they got the data with the idea that this is what was happening. So they were operating proactively. Completely agreed, and that was something that, again, when I said we won't have any data to show this if you can't get a test. So she agreed and said that they were operating as if, and we're treating it as if without the data. And I think that the testing sites, the walk-in testing sites, is an example of that proactive action. However, again, I encourage anyone, if there's something that you believe should be happening, then we should be doing. So she is definitely acting proactively. It's something that she was aware of and agrees with you and on what you're saying. However, again, I feel like the more people that care, the better. The more ideas that we have, the better. So I encourage you, if you have specific things that you would like to see, to share that information.
and I just to kind of piggyback off of Jamel, more so Jenny, the mayor has actually put a task force together to study to discuss health disparities, where Eva Bass and Jasmine is also on that task force, and also the city auditor, Dorcia Place, is also on that task force. So if you have any recommendation, also, maybe we might want to reach out to that task force and send them solutions or suggestions. So, but again, I just want to say that the mayor has put a task force together as it relates to addressing the health disparities that exist and also actions moving forward. So that's maybe we need to discuss it with those individuals also.
Yeah, and
Can I jump in real fast? The governor put.
Hold on, just 1 second, Tom. Hold on 1 second. Mr. Robinson wasn't finished yet. Just
for that
let
task,
him
advocated that any of the council members from, you know, the lower five wards be on that task force, because they are the ear to the ground and the boots on the ground when it comes to the issues in those communities.
Yeah, that's
We can ask
I
right
can't
now.
answer that. Yeah, I think
Right
those
now,
two
we're not a
points-
part of it, but we can ask
Yeah.
about being a part of that.
Because the 11th it's not, demographics has changed in the last, 20 years, and the minority majority district, please. So if we can make sure, one of us is there, please.
Just for the record, I'm not on that task force, so it's just an email that I received, and I did see that the mayor did put a task force together to study the health disparities, and those 3 individuals that I mentioned were on the task force.
Okay. Mr. Robinson, would you be interested in being that person on the task force? Was that your point?
That wasn't my point, but
okay, all right, I got you. All right, thank you. Mr. Holy, sorry about that.
No worries. I didn't mean to. The governor put President Javier Rodriguez in charge of a statewide task force, and right in the capital city. So we should use him as a resource also. Is what I was going to add.
Okay. Also, Kathy, you still here? Earlier you sent out an email looking for someone. Okay, go ahead, JR.
Just wanted to piggyback up.
The advisory board for the community.
Hold on one second. Hold on one sec, Kathy. JR.
Yeah, just to piggyback on the COVID-19, just everybody's aware, they did open up walk-up COVID-19 test sites in both the South End, Arbor Hill, and West End. It's in conjunction with the county and with Whitney M. Young as well. So if anybody doesn't have that information, I can forward it to you all.
Okay, thank you,
But
JR.
those are mobile sites, and we have dates for this week. But is that the plan going for the following week moving forward, or are they going to be moving them around? We don't know that.
We don't know.
Okay.
Yes, I can check. And yeah, that's for the mobile one, you have to schedule an appointment, which is going to kind of make it not necessarily an issue, but certainly interesting. So no, I can check.
Yeah, they screen them.
Right, but I mean, but moving the mobile units around, it's different.
Just on that topic, if I would add, just in my opinion, I believe. Just in my opinion, I strongly believe if you actually want to get mass testing going, I think you have to go to people's doors and just tell them, like, hey, drive to people's houses and then test them right there. As it relates to individuals coming out to testing sites, that's another conversation. But yeah,
okay.
That's just
thank you, Wusu. Okay, Mr. Johnson, was your comment in regard to this?
Yes, I just would like to say that they should take walk-in off of the flyer, because you can't walk in. You have to make an appointment. So, most people are going to just look at the buzzword and see walk in and proceed on. So the confusion is always part of the presentation. And you're going to keep on hearing, we have to educate folks on how serious them being in close proximity to others is going to keep this virus going strong. So I think that the communication should be about, people's personal responsibility. And then also we should be utilizing those street billboards that they can put up and connect people with information.
That's a good idea.
Great idea, like the police light things.
Traffic board.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea, DJ.
All right, doing that already.
Okay, got that. All right, so Ms. Fahey on the community choice aggregation.
Thank you. We need one more member from the council to serve on this advisory board. And as far as when this board meets, the times are flexible, so it can be early evening. So if somebody is interested, please.
Alfredo's on there, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
What?
Alfredo, is Alfredo on there?
I'd like to be on there if that's
He was
possible.
Considering it,
Okay,
If that's
yeah,
possible, I
yeah,
would
and-
still like to be on there.
but if you could let us
okay.
know.
Yeah, you were
I
leadership
would still
choice,
like to be on there
so,
if that's
Who is
possible.
that?
okay. Alfredo,
Oh, okay.
yeah, can you just add him? I mean, he did all the, can you hear me? I said, yeah, Alfredo could be the member on that board. I mean, he did work in the meetings, the planning meetings. I mean, he'd be perfect for it, so. Owusu, do you want to be on it?
No,
Is that why you
Alfredo,
left?
I nominate Alfredo to be part of that committee. If that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Alfredo.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is Michelle sent out to everyone an updated timeline. There were some delays because of the pandemic. So if you could take a look and just so you have a better idea about when the RFP is going out, it's like maybe a 2 or 3 week delay with things. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that. But there is a timeline that's been sent out to you by email. And that was it.
Okay, anyone else have anything?
I have a couple more things.
Okay. Okay, just
If you want to go
real
ahead.
quick, Brett.
Yeah, sorry.
Brett.
Just really quickly, I think at the last Wednesday caucus meeting, some members, maybe specifically Councilmember Anana, had asked about the status of some union contracts. And I did speak to Peachy Jones, my colleague, and the way the contracts are structured is even when they reach their expiration date, they continue on a status quo basis. So as negotiations are taking place, the contracts are still in force as they were before the expiration date. So there shouldn't really be uncertainty as far as the people affected by those contracts go. Things generally continue as normal. I think there are 4 or 5 contracts that are in that situation right now where they're expired, but we're working on negotiating newer versions of those contracts. And in the past, where new contracts have put a new pay rate in place, the salary increase will often be paid back retroactively to the expiration of the previous contract.
Well, thank you, Brad, for getting that information. My question is, what are the names of those 5?
That I will have to find out for you. PG didn't let me know that specifically, but I will get back to you on that.
Thank you.
And also on that same note, are the police still on hold from, I know there was an issue with PERB and they had the police trying to work their internal issues out. Can you find out if that's still on hold?
Sure.
For us? Because it went to the Public Employees Relations Board and it's been on hold for quite some time now. Tom?
Yeah, real fast, Brett, just to let you know, that's state law. That's the tri-borough agreement where the contract stays in force. But we've had cases where unions went 6 years without a raise.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's what we're really concerned about, I believe, anyhow.
Okay. All right, Jenny? We're good.
So the census, we are not doing well as a city right now in terms of the percentages of people responding. So please do, just encourage as much as you can. Obviously, we cannot go door to door. They did say that they were individually reaching out to members and letting us know of data, but they're going to be giving us more information. And anything that we can do to support that, it's, as everybody knows, that's, I think especially with the virus, the more people we have living in our city, the more that gives us opportunities to bring in revenue from federal and state sources. So it's really, really important. I also, I just wanted to quickly note, Councilmember Love had asked for some sort of letter that we could put together to potentially give to our seniors. And I think just in general, having a letter with contact information for the council member and then some other important things happening. First, I have to apologize. The different things that have been going on in my house right now have made it a little difficult for me to fully focus on that, but I should have a draft for us to look at and consider within the next 24 hours or so. And I think that's everything right now.
I have a question.
Okay,
If nothing else.
Joe?
Does anybody know animal control? They're still on duty, aren't they? They aren't, they have to be essential, I presume. And I'm not sure.
Yes, they're still on duty. Animal control is still on duty.
Danielle, are they under you or under police right now?
I'm sorry?
Are they under you or the police department?
Yes, they work with the city clerk. But the problem is with seizures, if there's an issue, people can't get in the city hall to pay redemption fees, and people can't get to the shelters to get their animals if someone's dog is seized. So we're trying to come up with a workaround with that.
I just had some complaints from constituents that they call the animal control officer and they don't get a call back. And the so if you could let them know, and maybe get me a number tomorrow.
Okay, I'll let them know.
And I know his dog was bitten pretty bad, and the guy just won't respond to him, so he wants to file a complaint. He's just, a little upset over it. So if you give me a number, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Tom?
Yeah, I just wanted to find out with the leadership, is there any talk about the state pulling back money that they're supporting the city with, like the Skyway project, road paving, stuff like that?
I don't think there's anything anticipated with that, but there are concerns similar to what happened in 2008. It would come more in rollback and some funding for aids for municipalities, or that $12 million. And we don't know what that will look like or if that will happen. That could also potentially happen to school districts. If you remember the gap elimination adjustment that we were crazed about for years and finally went away. That was, it started out as a rollback in 2008. So I would say all municipalities are worried about it. But it is, I think it's, at least we're starting flat with last year, in terms of funding. But they are, I think that the budget office and the mayor's office are preparing for a lot of different possibilities. And they are concerned about it.
Okay. So, everyone all set? Okay, no other questions? Okay. You all have a good night. Be safe.
Night.